Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. It is January 11th, 2016, and we are here doing another podcast with virtually everyone from the arcade today.
Everyone who's important.
Who's at the arcade? And Mozzie's.
Fred's here.
And Mozzie's.
Let's everybody introduce themselves.
Jamie Tibbets.
From
From the
Schmuppin.
Our hometown location.
And your
Schmuppin.
Oh, we're doing...
From Schmuppin.
Oh, okay. JT from Schmuppin and the Hambone.
All right. I'm the Hambone.
And the Hambone's here.
Fred DeHart.
Game of the year 2014.
Thank you.
Don't forget that part, yeah.
Forgot.
Bryan Schillo from the south side. That's about all I got.
Mozzie's Hagopian. I need no other introduction.
The Ace.
Wow.
And
The Ace.
The Ace.
And the Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn.
Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn. So, lots of stuff is always going on at the arcade, and we just put up our new Monday Game of the Week, which was Aero Fighters Special, which everybody seemed to got a couple of tries on already.
Yep.
What'd you guys think?
Good. I think they turned the ship around after 2 and 3, and they're kind of back a little more towards 1.
Well, 2 and 3 were horizontals, right?
No.
They were verticals, but they were on a horizontal monitor. They weren't the rotated monitor, right?
Yeah,
That I believe
because
is
they're
true.
Neo Geo.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So they're horizontal, but that's not the problem. Right?
Right.
Strikers Plus is that
That's
way,
true.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It just the series went down a little, but this one
It still has all the goofy characters, like from 2 and 3 kind of deal, but like Jamie said, it's going back to 1.
a little bit.
Well, it's more of a mashup, actually, 1, 2, and 3, it seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, for 1997, it's a pretty good game.
Cool.
It's a video system, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a very rare board. It popped up actually on eBay and from a Japanese seller, but couldn't pass it up, so
Got to have the whole set.
it is the whole set now. It's,
It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Well, after I get this high score, I have to go back to 2 then. I'm going to get all 4 high scores.
Here we go.
Wait, you have 2, don't you? Yeah. And 3?
No.
Nope.
Do you have 3?
He's got 2 of the belts. I only.
I got 1 and 3.
Is it, and I know we just 2 weeks ago put up Dragon Blaze, and normally we try to spread stuff out. Today we were kind of running around trying to decide what to put up. Is it going to take away from your Dragon Blaze playing?
No. Nothing could.
Can never have enough shmups? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
that's true, but Dragon
Yeah.
Blaze is the best.
Okay.
So. It's,
If you could see it, everybody just rolled their eyes when you said that.
nope, it's the best.
Even Jamie did.
I'm pretty into Dragon
See?
Blaze myself right
I like
now.
Dragon Blaze. That's fun.
Everyone's getting into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the best? I don't know
Good for me.
about that.
Right now, it's the
It's
best.
not the best shmup, but
It's fun.
Such a personal preference thing.
I'm a Psycho guy, so I'm biased.
How do you
What?
pronounce the name of that company?
Psycho.
Psycho? Okay.
It's like
I was going to make a
Strike-
bad
they make-
Street Fighter
That's
pun
how
there.
it's
I'm not going to.
It's like Gil Crusher.
Yeah.
What makes Dragon Blaze so good for you?
To me, it's gorgeous looking, and I like the controls. I like the metals. I like every layer about it. You can ignore one layer if you want, but if you're gonna, play like a man, you got to play every. So it's got all the layers. It's awesome. I just like it.
Except for the chaining layer.
Right? There's no chaining.
Yeah.
Which
is fine.
You got metals that are. You can either make them gold or silver. You don't have to make them gold, but if you want the points.
Well, if you're for scoring, you have to.
Right. If you don't have to technical bonus the bosses, but if you want the points, you have to. So there's a bunch of layers that are.
I like that they're
I
not.
think it's well balanced. It's
They
great.
don't precede each other in a way that you can ignore those and then still play the game and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So that's a cool part about it. I might enjoy it on a casual level. I don't think I'll try to go for a score on it, but it looks like a lot of fun to just mess with.
It's most of those. I'm actually getting interested on it on a scoring level. It's been I've been learning all the technical bonuses and getting those down, and just a very fun game.
Cool.
So, but I guess let's look at some scores.
All right. So just recently, we had Fred just today upped his Dodonpachi score, and this is not house high yet.
Yes.
Yet.
He's
but
charging.
He's charging.
Closing the gap.
He put up 49 million, which is inching up on Walter's score.
He's got 52 and some change. So
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Very impressive.
Might happen tonight.
That's
Yeah.
close.
So that's a super impressive game.
Congratulations on that.
It takes a lot of time and effort to get that. So it's a good job.
Thank you.
Dragon Blaze.
Jamie.
He just upped his new world record today. 596 200 was it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Who are you using?
That's a secret.
Wait, no. That's not.
There's no secret for that.
No stress.
Everybody's using Quaid at this point.
Then Cobra Man, new world record in that, set by Don Cox.
That
Don
was
came in.
weird. That was weird.
He sensed you.
No, he did, because I started playing it at the Retrocade, and I played for like 2 hours. I mean, I was just playing it, and then I was slowly creeping up on him. And as soon as I went to put in a score, he had put in one like 5 minutes earlier than that.
Whoa.
It was insane.
Billy Mitchell, you know?
Yeah.
I was within like 10, 15,000 of it. Boom, upped it by 90,000.
Wow. So that was done on the 9th, so just a couple days ago he upped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then is it John Haruza
has Castlevania.
Castlevania the arcade that we put up just last Monday. I know James White had it at some point, and
Yeah, James had the highest score at close on Monday before John could really get into it and sink his teeth into it. Sorry for the pun, but yeah, John put up a pretty nice score of 2.3 some million.
that's awesome.
Yep.
Then you had a new world record in Ninja Baseball Batman.
It's that's see, that game I just abused the most powerful moves. It's a one sissy, I call it. Like you can call it one CC, but it's really not the greatest accomplishment. I'll take it, but it's if you abuse the right moves, it's not that hard.
We'll watch the film later.
Yeah.
Cool. Who else do we have?
We have Ian Choice, I believe is the guy's name, with the Rampart score. Let me double check the score on that. I think he's over 14,000 now.
Mazzi's was trying to get that score for a while.
So was I. I tried going back and playing it a few times, and I think I got 11 or 12.
This was just 4 days ago. Ian put up 14,379.
Yeah, excellent.
He had it before, too.
He did. He just upped his own score, yeah. So that's just an increase of his current score. And then we have you with Anteater.
Yeah?
You, Mazzi's.
You as in
to go up on that one. But,
There's still room to go up more?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've gotten close to 180 before.
Really?
The arcade high, I think, is like 220 or something.
Well,
that's high. Or the Twin Galaxies, whatever, the world record.
It's 219.
219, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so you're going to try to go for that at some point?
I don't know, maybe eventually.
Cool.
That's a good score. That game gets really hard. Later.
James was trying to attack your score earlier in the week before you came in and upped it, so I think you might have discouraged him.
He's nowhere close.
He was around 100,000 the other day.
That's not bad.
So
That's not bad.
The game escalates so much. Like I probably can beat James' score on one life.
Ooh. All right, James, you hear that? He's calling you out. I know you listen.
Not probably. I can't.
And also a new house high in Space Harrier.
Yep. Pete Gores. He, I think
time on that.
I think Fred had it before, just briefly.
Yeah, but that's kind of like an out-of-the-box score. I don't think anybody's really put time into it.
That was like the second score anyone's ever put up on it. So
Yeah, if Gores sits on it, that'll be way higher, because that's a Gores game.
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
You put up like 6 million, right? 6 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had our very own Mike McCarthy up his own house high in Wacko.
Yeah.
That's crazy high.
It's
He's getting up there.
that
Yeah.
and Cosmic Cruiser.
Yeah, that dude just...
He's just under Donald Hayes now. He beat Stephen Wagner's score and Jason Cram's score. That's impressive.
That's impressive company.
Yeah. So yeah.
I asked him on Saturday if me and Haruza were playing Dragon Blaze, and I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna put up a score in Dragon Blaze?" And he's like, "Does it have 100 token total to
Not
it?"
yet.
I'm like, "No." He's like, "I'm not interested."
Gotta get 85 more people to play.
Is that the criteria?
He only has 2
doesn't
scores.
wanna- Yeah, he has 2 scores, and
Is
they're
that
both.
coincidental? Or
I don't know. They're both from the same developer and they feature the same characters though.
Yeah.
It's a Cosmic Cruiser.
Yeah, so
Cosmic Cruiser.
The joke is token average is like astronomical.
It's like 100. Yeah.
And then the new Ms. Pac-Man House High.
Yep. And that's by Joe Piccatelli. I want to say is how you say it.
He came in and
Gallagher guy.
a couple of weeks ago
Yep.
and was
Gallagher
putting up
guy.
a monster score on Galaga. So it's great to see him here more regularly. And
Yeah, he came in last Saturday when we were all here. Is that when you came in? Were you here?
I met him not that Saturday, like maybe 2 weeks ago. He was here with his kids.
He was there.
That's right. Yeah.
He was here on a Monday
It was Tuesday, I think.
Oh, that was that Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. He actually one of the people I work with, like he's friends with them, and that was kind of fun.
Oh yeah. Okay, that was January 2nd is when he came in.
Okay.
And put up that score, and then Stephen Lucas held that before. It was a little over 100,000, but now we're over at 130K now. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That team needs to be pushed way higher.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got some room.
Absolutely.
So we apologize if we're leaving out anyone's score, but we're only going to focus on really the top like house highs and world records because people are putting in just so many scores we really can't keep up and mention everyone's scores. So apologies. We'll hopefully mention you on your next accomplishment.
Don't hold your breath.
So I think while we have everyone here and what we really wanted to get into is the whole padding discussion. Because,
Yes.
We had a really good example come up with Circus Charlie between these two guys here, Moses and Jamie, and how padding can sometimes discourage people from trying to go for a score, or just people just don't feel like they want to play that way. Can you guys just give the listeners like a description of what was going on there?
Sure.
All right.
Sean Quigley had the score,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a pretty good score.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took me a while to get there. I put a lot of time into it. Well, not a lot, a couple hours. Each week I was playing it for a little while. And I finally got over the hump, took his score.
Mm-hmm.
And then next week came by, and Jamie figured out that you could just jump over a pot over and over and over, and got 100,000, basically 20% higher than my score, so considerably higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're at the same part of the game, though.
Okay.
We're more or less at the same level, but and that's basically the extent of it. Sean Quigley is still playing it. He has since passed. I think he passed my score.
Yeah.
Past you.
Yeah.
So he's inching closer to Jamie. So I imagine, based on knowing Sean, he's probably ahead of both of us in the game. In terms of distance in the game.
He is.
But he does not have the same score because he does not, or at least I don't think, I haven't seen him play.
No, he
refuses to do it.
That sounds
do
like
that.
Sean.
Oh, I told him about it. I'm like, if you just go jump over this pot for like 10 minutes, you will have the score.
10 minutes.
He chose not to do it. So, I mean, that's...
I respect him for that. Good. I don't usually cheer for Sean Quigley, but I'm definitely cheering for Sean Quigley here.
So are you cheering for him because he's going to pass Jamie? Is that why you're cheering for him?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the lesser of two evils.
All right.
So really what that brought up was when there are exploits, is it worth using these breaks in the game?
Exploits?
Yes.
It's taking advantage of bad game design.
Bad game design. You are. Like, what becomes more important? Is it just having the score, or is it competing, or like what is most important?
In this game, I don't think it's exploiting anything. I mean, they made it so that if you jumped backwards over a pot, you got points.
Yeah, if they didn't want you to get points.
Right, and then they put a... Right, it is, I would say...
It's got a timer too, right?
Yeah, and there's a timer, so there's absolutely... You're not exploiting, there's no glitching. I mean,
but you can get scores that... Like, while you can get them in the first level, like,
Sure.
you shouldn't be getting them until much later, and you end up not playing the game as much as just doing the same thing, which isn't necessarily how the game was meant to be played.
Well, I agree, it's boring as hell.
But
I don't want to jump over pots.
But that's the question, is like, why would you want to make a game not fun to play just to get the score when you could, like, you're a great player at it and you could compete on the same level? Like, why take it down this other path?
Because the points are there.
But if the points are there at the end, why make it? It just kind of like gives it this weird, like the thing when you put that score up, everybody kind of was like shoulder shrugging and seemed to have lost interest a bit on the game.
Well,
Don't you think that's on them though?
There are only 3 people playing.
Yeah.
One of them went, I'm done because I have a score. Sean Quigley's still playing.
Yeah.
Mas is the only one that stopped playing.
Sean was kind of questionable at first. Yeah. Like, he was, I think he's kind of taken it upon himself to prove that he can do it. Like, it's a game, he really likes the game.
Yeah. I hope he does. I don't think I would play it again. I think I'm done. I think it would be awesome if he beat my score legit without jumping over the pots and stuff.
Why do you use the word legit?
It's hardcore, let's put it that way.
But if it's a matter of, like, you can do that. You could put the same time on it and achieve that score. Like, why take it down the path of where you're just being like, this is not fun to do and it wastes time. And there's a lot of games like that, and we've talked about...
Like Splatterhouse went down the same road. Like, it just sitting in one place and killing those...
it's called Patterhouse.
Yeah. Splatterhouse, yeah.
Well, it's...
You can go like almost every single game. There's going to be like stuff where there's points where you're going to be able to just
about half the games. There's probably less than that.
But there's like Splatterhouse got to the point where eventually it had to become that, and there was a rule in place that was made by Twin Galaxies years and years ago, which kind of that was the only spot to pad at, and that was the only place that you could get more points. So it became like this battle at this very bottleneck spot. Whereas the whole game is there. It's like Ghosts and Goblins. It's like it's at the very first or second, third stage. It's the third stage that the bulk of the padding happens, where it's like you're not even venturing past that because that's where all the points are. And it's like James has like some great score in, but he's just not sitting in padding. He's getting pretty much through the whole game.
I saw him beat the big red devil, but he just didn't have the cross, so it didn't let him go to the second loop. So it just sends you back.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he did it like a couple weeks ago. So he's getting really far in it.
Well, in one specific game, though, Elevator Action, there was, the whole padding thing, and then I think Wagner came with the idea, instead of scoring for that game, you should just do, like, what level you can get to on that.
If you get to the same level as someone, it's just you have the same score as someone?
Right. There's no, they didn't put, like, because there's a spot in, like, floor 7 or something like that. In one of the stages, you can sit there and, like, milk it forever.
Literally forever?
Just about, because there's no timer in that game.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think the enemies just come out faster and stuff, but like you'll never die, like, because of the timer.
Okay.
So like, that's one of the things like they've been trying to get around with like games like that. Is like just like distance, and that could be a thing with Ghosts and Goblins too. That game is really hard to get through.
Absolutely.
But I think even on Ghosts and Goblins, with doing the exploit to get the points, I mean, it's easy. But at the same point in time, the quicker you do it, there can be a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just jumping back and forth like the Circus Charlie thing. But still, I mean, that's a little bit more fun for me. Like, I played that game a little bit. I can't get that far, on credit, but it's still fun for me to get there. Let's see how fast I can do this and how much points I can get up before timer gets down to where I need to move on.
Yeah, that's what these two guys joke about. Like, I waggle the joystick better. Like,
yeah, I'm a better waggler.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a good twiddler.
Wag the dog.
And we've brought up like with Russian Attack, where maybe set like there has to be like a benchmark to overtake the top score.
I actually think Russian Attack is not really padding, because
it's not really. You're in deathly danger at all times.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
that stealth bomber comes up.
I think like the first level in Russian Attack, I think you can milk it to. I think you can get 45,000.
I've done 51,000. I've done 51,000, just a little over that.
Okay.
But maximum beating the first level.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't. I hit just over 45.
Yeah.
But you're right at the edge of the timer.
Yeah.
There's a timer, and if you wait too long in a certain spot,
the stealth bomber,
the enemies just come.
Yeah.
Oh, the jump kick guys.
So it's a risk reward.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good system for, like, where if you're trying to get more points, the game's throwing more and more at you.
And it's super
that's
hard.
The way it should be done.
Yeah.
So I think Russian Attack, there's nothing wrong with Russian Attack.
I agree, because there's a timer there first of all, and then the game just punishes you for staying there.
Right.
And one touch from anyone, and you're done.
I don't see any difference between that and Circus Charlie.
What's trying to kill you on
difficulty doesn't
Circus
change.
Charlie?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a timer, so that's the same. So are you in danger of any way of missing your jump?
Sure, you can
Oh.
jump, but you can hit the pot. The rings are coming. The rings have fire. I mean, you're constantly
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
in danger of dying.
It
It's
would
not.
It would be the same case if Russian attack did not have the jumping guys or the flying guys.
Or the plane coming out?
It doesn't ramp up in difficulty.
If there was no
Russian
difficulty
attack does though.
escalation.
Eventually, just will come down and like.
That's the significant difference. There is no risk more than regularly playing the game in Circus Charlie. There is an added risk for.
Aren't most Konami
staying.
games though like that? Like, there's a lot of that, padding involved, but
Yeah.
at the same time, there's a timer that will come out, like
Yeah,
Contra, right?
Super Contra and Contra, they're the same exact way. Like they all have if they don't have a regular timer, they have a hidden timer, and it's just how many points can you get before that timer is going to expire and something unavoidable is going to happen to you. Like Super Contra, this big fireball comes out and gets you, and you can't avoid it. And regular Contra, like these little icons come out and they crisscross right at you, and you can't avoid it. But it's a thing that's a common Konami thing, and I don't know. I think that way is like the game doesn't get any harder in those games though. It's just enemies keep coming out, and then the timer expires and you die.
As long as points are the metric for the best, you can't stop padding. So I don't embrace it as much as I just accept that it's a thing.
No, he loves it.
I don't want to jump over pots in Circus Charlie, but it's so it's just like
It's there, yeah.
Well, this is the difference.
I mean, if $1's on the ground, are you not going to take it because it's someone else's, or
Well, it's the difference of a gamer, really.
it's there?
Where is it?
Jamie said he doesn't like jumping over pots, but he does it anyway and got the score. I don't like jumping over pots, so I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to play anymore. I'd rather play something else where it's more enjoyable.
Right.
I care more about playing other stuff that I care about to an extent.
But that doesn't make any sense because if you're playing it for fun,
I
you're
don't
playing
like doing
for
things that I don't like doing.
Well, no, but if you're going for a score,
If you're going for a score,
you can't go for a score and then not go for a score at the same time.
But you can't, like, the competition, like, you don't have to do it, but in you doing it, it makes it to where it's significantly harder for everybody to not.
So they should then.
Well, why doesn't he not? Like, just because
Because it's not against the rules.
Well, not yet. Like,
Well, you can't make new rules when the track's already been set up, and like we're competing against scores that everyone else has got on Arcade. For all you know, I'm sure they've done that.
you can find, like, when you find an exploit, like,
Yeah.
as an adjudicator, you have to define what is, like, breaking the spirit of the game. Like, that's what Walter Day intended for. You were supposed to always keep the focus of breaking the spirit of the game. In each game, everybody who's playing that game, if they're really going after scores and they're really understanding the game, like, yeah, they should be able to weigh in and be like, this should be a rule that this can't be done, just so the score doesn't get to the point, just it doesn't cause this problem.
Well, as long as if you're going to do rules, they have to be objective. Nothing about it can be subjective. And then you also have to worry about diluting the scores you already have. Like, all these people that have Circus Charlie scores, like, now they have to come back and set new scores, and then the scores, the world record that already the guy maxed it out, then are we just going to ignore his max out? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, his maxed out score. I mean, he got like 999
All nines.
across, and that is insanely impressive. Like, I don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
Even with the padding that I know of, I don't know how that's possible.
Perfect
Yeah.
everything.
I don't really think that's actually we're not that far from that.
That's crushing the game and crushing the padding.
That's doubling your score. Yeah.
From what I understand of that game, the second loop is the exact same thing as the first loop. There's no difference.
No, because the score maxes out before that, I think.
Yeah, so there's 6 different tracks in that game. I think both Jamie and I think Sean as well, perfected 4 of them. Or 3 of them. 3.5 of them, really.
3.5, yeah.
So it's just a matter of just figuring out how to beat, like, literally, so those 6 tracks, you play each of them 5 times. So there's 30 levels in the first loop.
Right.
We're all at, like, beating 24 of them, basically. All we have to do is beat those 6 other ones. And then we start the second loop, of which the scores will immediately jump up 300,000.
I didn't even know there was a second loop.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a finite number of points in the first loop.
Well, that's why I didn't understand how that
points.
999 thing was possible. I didn't know there was a second loop. That makes more sense. But I agree with Pete. Padding is subjective. You can never make it objective. Like, what if you jumped over 1 pot backwards? Is that padding? 2, 5, 10? If it's objective, it has to be written in stone. You can never jump over pots backwards.
You can never jump backwards, and even if you're doing it to avoid a death, you can't do it. And
but they have plenty of rules in place that are like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can't pad enemies unless it's the level 4 boss, in which you can only kill 50 mousers, but no more than 50.
What?
Yeah,
see that
one. Because that's an exact number that you have to stick with. Like if you say,
you can be okay, you can't jump over it more than. Well, it's complicated, but it makes it to where, there's a game like Castlevania. Hmm? The whole game is making it to the
Red Skulls. Totally broken.
Yeah. Right. The thing, I had an appreciation for what Matt Walters did when he was like, I've got the score, and I could just spend my last lives here, but I'm going to finish the thing. And he didn't get all the points that he could have gotten there, but eventually there was an existing score, and that's what they did. But he took it past that, and he finished the game and showed that he could do that. And to me, as far as gamesmanship, that should be something that it's taken into consideration.
For Castlevania, I think there should be 2 tracks. There should be points. Let somebody play for 900 hours straight if they want to and drop dead. Or there should be one where you complete the game with the most points. I don't think there should be one track.
No, just one life and done type track.
Or one life and done. There can be different tracks. I think that's the reason we haven't gotten into it, but when we were discussing this last month, we got to the point where you were suggesting the instituting of more rules into each track. Mm-hmm. Keeping it one track, but adding rules to it. And my theory was that you should add multiple tracks, and you were against it. I think that was the crux of the discussion.
And the problem with that is that everybody just follows one. You can have as many tracks as you want. You can do whatever you want as far as that goes, but making something that people look at it as the world record, there's going to be one. You're not going to have 50 world record holders just because this guy's padding in level 1 and this guy's
they did it in Berserk. They got pattern play and no pattern play. It happens. There's 2 world records in that game.
It begins to dilute it. When you look at
it totally does. I agree.
Galaxy, some games there's 12 tracks.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Right. Well, taken to the extreme, who's the world record holder for Guitar Hero? Right. There's thousands of different songs that people have the best score on, but who's the actual best? No one knows because there's so many tracks.
There's some sort of middle ground that has to be when I look on between galaxies and I try to decipher what the best score is, I don't even know what I'm looking at eventually, because sometimes there is 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks for the same game.
Yep. Yeah, I think it depends also what you consider to be some scores, you might think they're the world record, but it might not be a measure of skill. I think there's scores where the best player doesn't have the top score. So you have to take that into account. There's not always going to be
all Jamie's good scores.
You just have to say, hey, he got that score. That's an achievement. But there's a person that might know the game better, and just leave it at that. I think this guy probably knows Russian Attack as good or better than I do, even though I have a higher score.
Close.
Yeah.
It's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I haven't had enough time to put into it to really work on the score.
Yeah.
I was doing that for a while, and I was having a lot of fun, but just been bouncing around too much lately. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember how I kind of tapered off that one, but I might have been a little bit discouraged when I came in, and I was like, oh, pizza, he's just not I set the world record. I did double that at home. I'm like, oh.
I did a little more, not that much more.
When you get to that highest score in that game, the end game, that takes a long time too.
It does, yeah.
That's a certainly time sink, and then you have a stupid death early in the game. You're
for sure. And sometimes for me too, when I play, it doesn't make any sense to me, but if I go at it constantly, if I keep just playing a game over and over and over again, I'll actually get worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me, so at least some of you might know what I'm talking about.
It's the burnout.
And but then you take a break and you come back to it, you do awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm on extended break.
Yeah. You got distracted by MIA and the other stuff.
That too, yeah. And Gradius too. I've been really...
You're getting up to really close up there too.
Yeah, I almost had it the other day.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those stupid things Or I have games like that. I'll do awesome, and then I just do the most nonsensical thing, like crash into a wall. I'm like, why did I do that? I just blew into my entire chance of like doing really well. So yeah.
But yeah, as a player, I know you're really good at the game, and I know you know it really well, and I know you have the potential to beat my score. But it's just one game. It just you got to put that game together, and that's what we're measuring. My knowledge of the game is up there with yours, but I just put that one game together. I'm sure you can do it if you keep trying.
No, sure, yeah. It's just, and the brain needs to adapt to the patterns and be methodical.
That's for sure.
I think games fall into probably 3 categories at most. You have points, you have distance plus points, and you have speed.
And time.
So I don't think that it's that slippery of a slope to create new tracks. Because I don't think 20 tracks is ridiculous. I don't think anyone would agree that that is necessary.
Right.
But if you have a game that goes forever, distance becomes a track. If a speed run is possible, speed is a track. And then there's just points where it's just anarchy, what we have now. Padding, if you want, do whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't think there's probably a scenario that doesn't fit into one of those categories. So you'd be there'd be the speed king, there'd be the distance king, and there'd be the points, the score king.
Doesn't that get overly complicated? I don't know.
It's not what the manufacturer originally intended when they made the game.
You're trying to.
Well, did any of the manufacturers intended anything else to be tracked like this?
I think they did actually.
I don't think
because some of them would they have different
and that's why they have timers.
Fast bullets, slow bullets. I mean, those are completely different settings.
But what's one of the things that's keeping scoring from being a mainstream? You have a very small group of people that understand scoring and compete in it, and to get it out into the populace, it's not like the casual player is not running around going, I wonder who's speed running that game. It's what's the world record, what's the high score. That's what they know. You can't make it more complicated without it. It's never really bled out into the casual player. And we have so many players that want notoriety from their scores, and it's and there's a lot of players that should get a lot of recognition.
James should get recognition.
Jamie Tibbets.
The group here, how many world records are on this podcast right now? There's 200.
Yeah, but I'd say if you're a casual player, you're not going.
Who cares about the casual?
Casual players aren't going for score.
Who cares about that?
There's someone.
Well, that's the kind of thing.
But then,
are we to draw an analogy? Does an Olympic speed, an Olympic runner care about a person just jogging down the block? I mean, he probably doesn't. But if you're trying to get him into running, how do you make it more approachable? That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, there's.
That's better than the money on the ground thing.
I like my money on the ground. It's free money.
That's where I keep it.
It's something scoring in general. It's something that we want to see grow. We want to see more people get into it more. And I know that's a lot of yours. What you guys want. It's
the casuals aren't going to be going for world records.
That's the very definition of casual. They don't care as much.
Well, there's not just matrix pods of high score players just waiting to come out and show up at the Ghost. You have to take casual players.
Sure.
They're out there, but you need to take casual players and get them into it, and it's the exact same thing that happened with Bryan Keita and George Gaynor and Nick Young. Those guys were casual players. They were here. They didn't know any. Matt Walters was a casual player.
All of us were.
I think most people start that way, and I think it's got to come from within, though. If you want it, you'll do it.
I was serious.
Yeah.
But
you were born serious?
Born serious, man.
It doesn't. There's a middle ground. I mean, it's not like world record or bust type deal where if you're not going for a world record, you're not going for high scores.
I think Sean Quigley is like that. He comes in and just wants to play. He doesn't.
Tim Foley too.
And I come in and I want to be Sean Quigley.
Yeah. But I love your little feud with him. It's awesome.
As far as growing it for the, as far as gaining more notoriety to the players, to the games, it's got to be more inviting, and I think that if it gets too convoluted by being, there's 20 different tracks that people follow, it's going to be I don't even know what I'm looking at. You've even said, look, you know what you're talking about looking at TG. You've been
Well, TG has this thing where you can rate the track. Like, if someone thinks a track is like, the rules are dumb, you can downvote the track, and it's got like the star rating on it now.
It's similar to where I think the players that are playing for the score should have some input on it. Like, just because you want to jump over a ball for 40 minutes, maybe every...
Hold on here.
10 minutes most. 10 minutes most.
If the other players don't, maybe that gets looked at and agreed upon as like, hey, in the rules of like, let's not do this because we can spend our time playing Dragon Blaze.
I'm absolutely with you in theory. I don't think it's possible in practice, though. I don't think, because you can't have everyone in the world who's playing a game all in one room deciding on something.
But in a sense, like, using Orcade, like, it's not... There's some stuff that we have to contend with, like the rules to Splatterhouse were in place before we had a Splatterhouse board.
Right.
The rules for Castlevania, we set them. Like, it's defined by what we say is this is good and this is not.
Sure,
like,
you can do that going forward, but what do you do with games that have already have scores?
Got tons of scores games that have been out from the 80s and stuff, yeah.
Well, and there's scores that some of them have to be relooked at. There's scores that are wrong.
Yeah, TG's got scores that are wrong, I'm sure of it.
It's moving forward, I think, with the amount of players here. I think that we can kind of acknowledge the past and not get rid of anybody's accomplishment. But in that sense, maybe it is. Like, hey, you have to... maybe it is a new track from that point on. And it would come down to, like, the Ghosts and Goblins. Like,
so you have multiple tracks?
We will only acknowledge the one. There would be, like, this is our track, and this is
Circus Charlie. We all get together, all three of us Circus Charlie players get together and we decide, all right, no more padding. My score goes out the window.
Yours would be the only one?
No, the 999 guy, we padded. So you got to get rid of all the...
You'd have to start a new track for that.
So you get rid of the current score?
There's some stuff that you can... Are you 100% sure? Like, we can research that stuff.
Well, no, you have to be 100% sure that he did not pad if you're going to keep the score. Otherwise, it's got to go out the window if you don't have the proof.
I think proof becomes... the absolute, like, key. Like, we've thrown scores out that... we were pretty sure that were legitimate, but like that Street Fighter score, we couldn't get in touch with the guy. The score was high, but we had watched him play, and it seemed like he could accomplish it, but we couldn't 100% verify it, so it had to go.
Sure.
And later, several people came and just blew that score out of the water, and it's just kind of like, it's unfortunate that we weren't able to get in touch with that guy. But as far as the community, if they're not, like, it's a number. It's like, if you're not bringing anything to the community, like, that number, who cares what that number is? It's like, if it's beneficial for the community as a whole and it gets people to want to play the game instead of deter them from playing a game, I think that's something that should be looked at, and it's something.
So how would you do it with Circuit Charlie? Like, because there's guys that played at other arcades. How would we take what they think into account?
Well, and if it's an arcade score, we can literally pretty much all those scores. I'm sure we could probably from 2000.
Yeah, this guy's put up a score of a max out score in the year of 2000.
Was it a fun spot?
Here, I'll click on it. Let me find out. Yeah, it's a fun spot.
Fun spot too.
Yeah. If that guy maxed out the score, he could do it with padding or no padding.
Probably.
Because that means he beat the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter at that point.
Like, if it gets to that point, like, it's Midnight Resistance, a perfect example. Like, you can finish that game really easily. There's one spot where you can pad. That's the only place that you can take the score. If it gets to that point, so be it. Like, then it becomes who wants to stand there forever and shoot conveyor belts.
We should do a speedrun track for that then. Who can beat it the fastest? That'd be a better test, right?
It's however you want to handle it. It's like that should be up to the world record holder and whoever's competing for this. Yeah.
As a world record holder of this game, my decree is nobody else can play this.
Well, then what happens to your world record? Is it now? I mean, is it now invalid because we made a different track?
Well, because I would be weighing in on it, I would say no, like it should be. I didn't pad on the conveyor belt. Actually, that's not true. When Anthony was playing,
You showed him, yeah.
I showed him how to play the game, so he could get the score just under mine. And I'm like, I was like, I don't want to turn this into a stupid thing where we're sitting here for hours shooting this thing. I'm going to show you how to 1cc this game. I'll teach you everything you could want to learn about this game. And he can finish the game no problem. He's beat the game. The only request was, don't make me sit and shoot these conveyor belts.
So where is he?
If he
he's
wants
just going
to
to pad somewhere else then to get the score. You have to do something.
There is no other padding. Like it is
something.
Just right there.
So your
Anybody
scores are almost identical then?
Yeah. Like
then you're bringing
that's what it
padding
comes
into the equation. That conveyor
it
belt
will
looks
eventually come down.
Super enticing now.
Could,
Come on.
But if it gets to that point,
Yeah.
then that becomes the game, and that's fine. Like no problem with that. If you can do the rest of the other stuff to the game, like if you want to spend. Like Walter's,
and you're sure there's no like hidden timer or anything going on in the background?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Okay.
You could. It's just like Walter's on Castlevania. Like him being like, "Hey, I'm not just going to spend my last life throwing holy waters for the next hour. I'm going to go
Sure.
take down Dracula."
I'm with you in theory. I don't think anyone wants padding. Padding is boring.
It's fun.
There's no glory.
You say that, but then you.
I like doing the same thing over and over.
But Circus Charlie.
Score is the metric.
Wait.
Yeah, if they tracked anything else but score, like if I could attach my name to the Super Contra World Record without sitting in the same place, I would.
Yeah.
But I have to do that if I want the score.
That's what you have to do. There's what you have to do to get a score, and what you choose to do. And it's the choices that are made. Like you could play Circus Charlie legitimately.
I could.
And he could.
I could.
It's not even a world record either.
No. It's a house hybrid.
But like the moment you did it, it kneecapped everybody else's interests.
No, it's one person. He's sitting right next to me.
But that's like saying, out of how big is the scoring community here? How many?
Cut it down by 30%.
Right.
But my 420 didn't put anyone out of it that Sean Quigley's 390 didn't. I mean, it's
the problem I have with stuff like that. Because imagine if there's a fourth party that comes into this that has no idea anything but likes the game. They're like, oh man, this Jamie Tibbets guy, and gets like to the game gets really hard at a certain point. We're both at that point, and neither of us have crossed that bridge. And I think anybody with enough practice can get to the same point we're at. And then they're like, man, I don't know how this guy got this extra 80,000 or 100,000. And then maybe they submit a score and then they're done because they just don't know.
Well, they could ask Jamie too. He shares his tech.
Yeah, I told
some
you.
people say that game.
We've seen Rolling Thunder with Matt Rocco.
Yeah.
He was amazing at that game. And he would get to the last guy, and he's like, he never officially was like, that scores, there's something wrong with that score.
Well, I didn't understand it either, and Pete had to send me a video of it, and I'm like, oh, that's
that Mark replay,
Yeah.
But
there's an insane amount of padding going on there.
There's an insane amount of padding, but that guy, also just destroys that game. It's not a challenge to him because he's that good at the game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not happening in level 1 or 2 or 3. The guy just steamrolls the entire thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets every point that you could ever get because he's that good.
But what's the difference between that and Jamie? He's getting every point he can get jumping back and forth.
Not that good. He's not that good.
Well, and why are those points not as legitimate? Like,
because you're jumping. How can you even question that?
I guess it's the same metric too, because, and maybe I'm not seeing it as clearly as you guys are here, but when I listen to this discussion talk about, like, jumping through the hoop or over the bucket, whatever, it's the same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Why can't I just stand behind a fire hydrant and just sit there and have a foot soldier throw darts at me and just keep swatting them with my weapon? Well, why is that not allowed? But that's
because,
okay. Because there's still a risk.
Yeah,
like he could die. You could biff it.
You could biff it, right? Miss the shurikens or whatever. Yeah.
But it's like, if you're doing it in level 1,
okay,
it's like you don't see the rest of the game. It's like you can do that. You can get the score in level 1.
Yeah.
It's the spirit of the game.
It is. That's what it is.
It is, and we're all probably behind keeping the spirit of the game.
I'm not. I break the game.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't think it's. I think it's impossible to police. You cannot do it.
You absolutely can. There's rules in place already on many games.
I think you can.
We're talking about retroactive.
I think you can in a lot of games, but not all games.
Right.
Maybe not 100%.
I think the Ninja Turtles example you gave, where the boss.
Yeah, there's a
the major
special
boss
rule.
is there, but then he keeps throwing little enemies at
But
you.
eventually
Mausers,
that stops. Yeah. There's only so many that he throws out there, and then he stops.
Well, there's a rule that you can't kill more than 50 of the Mausers. Like
I think he throws infinite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is
No,
infinite?
no,
Okay.
it's not.
I thought it was limited.
It's limited.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's limited.
Well, either way, I'm sure there's some games where,
That happens, yeah.
but I think something like that you could probably regulate to an extent.
Everyone would have to
that's
record
a-
every
I
performance
actually
too,
Well,
which they should be anyway.
in a lot of it's no different than Splatterhouse. It's like the rule is don't multi-kill the last boss, and everyone, all 3 people adhered to it. And
Yeah.
it wasn't.
That's a good rule though, because that's not subjective. That's an objective. Like, do this or don't.
Right.
That's why that rule works.
I think it could be like the Ninja Turtles. I'm not anywhere near that level of play, but I like that rule. And I think that works. Like Circus Charlie is a stupid game. I mean, you
Are
can't.
you saying that just because Sean beat your score?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, there's absolutely sour grapes right there.
No,
Yeah, it totally is. So it's the guy who likes Circus. He thinks Circus is a good game. But Circus Charlie's a bad game.
Anything with the word
Get out.
Circus Charlie is a
Lifetime
good game.
ban.
The scoring is just stupid. Because you mentioned like maybe we'll make you have to jump backwards. There are parts in the game
You have
parts
to, right?
in the game where you
Right.
can't
You
survive.
can't. So you can't say no jumping backwards.
Yeah,
But it's not.
That's part of the game.
It's not no jumping backwards. There, you can kind of figure it out when he's jumping backwards for 75 minutes. That it's like there's something going on.
Right, but then you say you can only jump backwards when? That's got to be a situation that's black and white. It can't be anything subjective. Like, can he jump backwards
Well,
if he's going to die?
it could be subjective, but then you're bringing in a tribunal voting you up and down.
That's exactly what I was going to say, tribunal. Like, we need the big gaming tribunal. We'll get everybody from across the country together.
By doing all this,
And
you're
decree on every single game.
You're bringing
Must be
in-
made.
Do that.
Yes.
the idea of deleting scores retroactively. You're bringing in the
the
idea
tribunal will
of
figure
burden of
that out.
burden of proof on everybody who submits a score, and then you're bringing in a tribunal to then watch that video and vote on whether they broke the subjective rules or not.
But we're currently.
And then you're
in
also diluting all the scores.
hundreds of games that we track scores
It's just
on.
logistically
You're talking about
impossible.
4 or 5 games that are. Man, I
No,
I don't want to do that on this.
You can pad on almost anything.
You can, but
some padding is okay.
Some absolutely.
I think the
is.
Russian attack is a perfect example.
I agree with Russian attack is Contra is that's fine. That's like
It's all padding to me. I don't understand.
It's all Greek.
I've
to me.
watched him do it, and I can say he's being very, very cautious, but I know he's padding. My tribunal, if I was voting whether he was padding or not in his run, I would say thumbs down, because I know he's padding.
In
But
which
I
game?
don't fault him for it, because it's dangerous to go fast in that game in the second loop.
Then you would vote him up.
No, because padding is illegal in this universe, so I would vote him down.
I don't think it's black and white.
It's not.
it's
That's
not. It's got to be a per game.
So it's not illegal in this world. That's the wrong statement.
That's a wrong statement.
If it was part of the new rules of that.
No padding exists.
If there was some.
It's not.
I don't think
no
anybody's
padding.
suggesting
Nobody's
no padding.
suggesting no padding.
I think Jamie is.
No, I'm just using it. I'm using Russian attack as an example that's a very, very gray area. That is, I think, the best example of a
But
gray
it's like
padding area.
okay, if we could check, let's not go with Russian attack because that's not one we're looking at. Like Circus Charlie, it's like Double Dragon. It's like there's a guy who has called me over and he's like, I got the world record. And he's doing the trick where he's just kneeing the guy over and over and over.
And I was surprised you didn't take that one.
Why? Like it's
Because there's a timer.
but there's no skill to that. That's
Skill
like
is not necessarily a measure of score, as proven by Fred and Jamie.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Ghosts and goblins.
well, let's
no
get
skill whatsoever.
things back on track because we can do that.
We
And as a community where it's not like there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that we're dealing with within the community. Like if we were like, oh, hey, can you not do that so that your score is legitimate and you still put up a great score?
Well, that's
and then
fine. You can talk to me though. I'm hearing you face to face.
See, the problem is,
and that's the awesome thing about our community. We can do that,
Right.
and it's so easy to police stuff and communicate, and it's like it's not a challenge because that's the community here.
so that the score that that Kevin Clem, he beat the score that was on TG. How do we know that guy on TG didn't do the knee bash thing to get his score?
If we're going to acknowledge the other scores, like, we have to do some research, and if we can't verify it, then we just can't acknowledge it.
Because I was looking at that Double Dragon in particular. I just going back to that, like, the score, not for the arcade, but for the main version of Double Dragon, is over 300,000, because that's the technique he used. I saw the guy submitted the same replay on MARP, and I watched his replay. That's what he did. He did the knee bash technique, and they allow it. So, like, it's the score. I mean, the score may not take skill, but he still completed the game. The game isn't the hardest game in the world to beat, though.
No,
I mean,
it's
you
not.
can elbow bash people to death if you don't want to fight them straight up.
Sure.
But,
But with the stuff that...
and it looks
and again,
it looks
there's-
ugly. I know what you're gonna. I know the gameplay looks bad if you were just looking at it objectively. It looks like it takes no skill. So
Oh, it's not sexy. Padding is not sexy.
yeah, it's if you want a true display of skill, I don't think score is the best measure for that game. It's probably a time attack for that game. Like beat the game in the quickest amount of time.
Well, it ultimately comes down though, like at least for Galloping Ghost arcade, it's just I guess everybody sitting down, getting some sort of tribunal, and just agreeing on
Yeah, I think you could
Going forward,
institute
yeah.
those rules locally.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
like you said, but like
That'd be not very easy, but
easier. But internationally speaking, that's when it gets a little hairy.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can do
those
it
guys in
outside
Spain
the
are a little,
arcade.
Is that
There's already...
a pack joke?
Spaceman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a spaceman joke, but
Yeah.
more of a pack joke. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's chunks of scores that we currently don't acknowledge, just like on
Yeah.
the Japanese shmups. Like, there's tons of
Autofire.
scores. Like, there's things that we... Like, there's numbers out there that those players are amazing, but we just, due to the way Arcade is set up, we can't acknowledge them.
Yeah, there's one that shouldn't be acknowledged either, I think. Like, you've seen TG's Alien vs. Predator world record?
Mm-hmm.
Has a 7 on the end of it. 7 continues were used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Remember-
a lot of
There's scores that just shouldn't be there.
Jamie
there's
is
a
Airfire Special.
Capcom versus Marvel versus Street Fighter that ends in a 13. And it's like every score in that run has
Yeah.
multiple credits in it.
Yeah.
And
So we should know to ignore those.
we already do.
Yeah.
I know one of the scores that you have, we acknowledge it as the world record, and we don't acknowledge TG's because it is not a properly adjudicated score.
Which one's that?
I want to say it was Marvel versus Street Fighter.
Oh, I know that.
But it's
Yeah.
not like it took 13 continues for
Yeah.
them to get the score. Like, what
Okay.
are you...
Not Pete.
Not Pete. Gamer of the Year. He gets it in one credit.
That's me.
But, like, the scores that are glaringly wrong, like, just because somebody says it's a world record doesn't mean that we have to acknowledge it.
All right, here's the question. You institute rules locally on Circus Charlie. My score goes out the window. And if you institute it, I would not be heartbroken. I don't really care that much about Circus Charlie. But can my score stand as the world record?
Well, that kind of
If it-
depends on who...
If
Let's just say you max out the score.
Right.
Yeah. Well, would it stand as a world record? Not among the local players, but among the world.
Right.
It's got to
Yeah.
be game by game.
Yep.
No game. There's no one size fits all.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And Circus Charlie, as much as I don't like saying it, might be one of the ones that we don't regulate because it's too arbitrary. Even more so than like the Ninja Turtles example or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think so. If you're going to institute no padding, that would be an easy one to do.
I don't necessarily agree. But
It'd be hard to police. You'd have to record every
You'd
attempt.
have to record that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you institute no padding rules of any kind in any game, you're making it mandatory that people have to have video proof.
We should just all do that.
Well, and
Yeah.
that should be mandatory. Like,
Yeah.
the scores that...
It's currently not.
Yeah.
It's currently not.
Yeah.
It's something that I think would be very beneficial to grow the community and just as a whole, like this stuff should be being documented. Like your gameplay on Dota and Apache, like if there wasn't video of that, that would be terrible. Like we want to see what you're doing. Like you're playing these games at such a high level.
I take
like
that.
What?
You wouldn't need video proof. Nothing. I don't think anything would change. Not to argue against myself, but right now you don't accept scores from people you don't know.
We don't accept video submissions from if they're not done here. Is what you're getting at, right?
Right, but I mean, if I came to you with a score, you would trust that I did it correctly. Because I've been coming here a long time, there's a trust built up.
Right.
You don't do that with people you don't trust. So you would just trust that if there were padding rules in place, that I did not break those rules.
Sure.
So you wouldn't necessarily be instituting video proof.
I think we should.
I think
that's been something
it's
that
it's not
currently
not right now.
It's not mandatory. I would like it to be, just because.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, there's no reason not to.
Right, that'd be nice.
And the players that want recognition can get it. Like we put it on YouTube and everyone sees this is the world record. I know James is always like, hey, he wants to be a celebrity, you know.
Yeah.
Let's put him on YouTube and stream, streams whatever.
I have the video so I can watch it and see what I did right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the best. That's the best way to learn. Yeah.
So if Circus Charlie, you institute a rule, no padding. I don't think any of like Sean, Massi's or I have not really maxed out the sixth thing of that game. What if halfway through we discover another padding spot?
You can, we have the power to keep altering. Like, we can keep, if you're now getting farther, you can add that later.
But now we're up to 3 anti-padding spots. So now you're looking at the rules as a casual person, and you're going, okay, I can't do this on level 1, I can't do this on level 4, I can't do this on level 6. That, to me, you're starting to... There's a tipping point where you're going back to making it more confusing for a casual player to get involved.
That's what Super Mario Brothers players are always looking for rules, yeah.
A game-by-game basis, like what are you gaining versus what are you losing? Like, are you losing one casual player that doesn't want to play versus 2 regular players that instantly stop playing a game? Like, it's the give and take of it. Like, it has to be in the mindset of what's best for the community to keep people playing the games, keep people submitting scores, keep people just like...
I wish we could update games, like, you know how they patch Mortal Kombat when they characters get we would just patch that out of the game and we'll be good.
Well, and it's starting to happen. Larry DeMar bringing us the tie-dye ROM set of Robotron, fixing a few things here and there.
Find out who developed the
Circus Charlie. let's get him in here. He's probably in Japan. That was a Century game, right?
Yeah,
the Century.
Yeah,
get him in here.
Let's get him in here. Next Developers Day, he's going to be here.
Yeah, next Developers Day.
Charlie, we're going to find you.
Is Chris Tang coming back to fix Primal Rage 1 for us?
Yeah.
Well, I think the arcade here, you have a nice setup when you have new games, though, that nobody else has. So that's, something like we can make the rules for.
That's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games, right?
Like, if you look on arcade, how many unique games do we have here now?
So we have a lot of room to experiment with.
Absolutely.
To see how things go.
Yeah, I think we could easily do it inside the arcade. And if it leaks out internationally, then...
I'm saying we need this international tribunal happening. It's going to happen. Just like, when they vote on a pope and stuff like that.
The smoke will come out of GTA. New rule has been decided.
Yeah. A new track has been.
Yeah, we currently have 105 unique games here that no other arcade has. Of the 482 games that we have, how many other arcades are people actively going and setting scores in on?
Sure, but then you get the crossover. Whenever you say world record, you always check TG first to make sure you're saying it. And it's legit when you say it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. Like before we put a star on it, we always check TG. Yeah, before we put the crown on it.
Huh. So, but at that point, if you've instituted rules, do your rules and your rules don't match TG's rules? What happens then?
Like TG Life Force is a good example where we put up a world record of Life Force, and TG changed them, and they just had their own track. Like, I think eventually we could have with Orcade, I think we can have a stronger scoring base than I think it can be the most respected one out there. Just because the volume, the amount of games, the amount of scores that are constantly going in. Like the fact that in a week, we had to have Orcade update from keeping track of the last 50 scores to now they track
200. Yeah.
Because this is where all the scoring is going on. This is where everybody has access for the game. People are traveling in here, and they do it at Fun Spot. They do it at other arcades, but there's very few places that take scoring as seriously as we do. And I think that eventually there'll be this tipping point to where it's just the credibility of this place will just be the top.
Yeah, like if you compare, like last time we were talking about this, I went and I looked at TG submission queue for arcade submissions. There was 11 active arcade submissions, and we have 200 submissions that happened in the last 11 days on Orcade.
Were all those submissions world record
TG,
submissions?
most people are putting in world records.
Most of them. One was a Robbie Lakeman Crazy Kong, and another one was something. Most of them were like top level players.
Right. It's kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Right. Because
in the case
stuffing the scoring thing here with his crap scores. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, there's just a ton more scores going in here, though. Yeah.
There's times where you can look on the board when it was the top 50, and it's like there's 18 world records set there, and it's like wow, and it's solid games. It's Forgotten Worlds. It's Russian Attack. It's Contra. It's not like we're just kings of the low-hanging fruit. It's like
my whole argument with this whole thing has been from a practical standpoint. I'm with you in spirit.
But the practicality of anything that we do seems impossible. Like there's an arcade with 483 games.
Yeah.
That's not practical.
No, but I mean
all CRT monitors.
Yeah.
Hey, let's track scores on everything. Let's have
the current
It's to be a big
system-
undertaking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything
the current system's easy to keep track of, though. By adding those rules, you're making it much harder. You can do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I mean,
Who's on this tribunal?
If you're going to start
I wanna be on the
axing
tribunal.
scores and
I think Gamers of the Year should definitely be on the tribunal.
Well, I think
We're the elders.
people that
Yes,
needs
the Elder
to.
Council.
I think the adjudicators of Orcade, and I think
Yeah, refs. I mean, shouldn't all the referees be involved?
it should be the referees, and it should be like
it should just be everybody.
Expert players.
Everybody,
Well,
everybody
it's-
that cares.
I think
It
the
should
players should
be-
have input, and then the referees should decide upon it.
absolutely, I agree with that. Because
Yeah.
it's like if there's a game as like I know many of the games over there. There's a handful that the scoring I'm kind of I could be better on, but I'm comfortable with everything over there. If Circus Charlie, if you're like, hey, let's do it like this, and let's do it like this, the adjudicators would sit down, take your information, and come up with something that'll work. And something that'll make everybody happy and keep playing the game.
Yeah.
Well, let's make this happen.
As long as people keep playing.
Oh, we'll keep playing no matter what.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like,
What I wish, like, in my utopian society, like, I wish just everyone would just play with no holds barred rules. Just everyone just go and play, because that way you don't have to worry about these rules.
But that's
Because I'm a Cyrex player, and like,
status quo.
but
like-
okay, so you've played and learned Darius Gaiden.
yes,
You love the game.
okay, yeah.
What if level 1, after you've spent all this time on it, somebody sits in the
you're asking
corner
the wrong person because
and
he's gonna
just
say he'd do
sits
it.
and
Yeah.
spends 14 hours, more time than you want to
14.
spend standing there,
Okay.
and he gets the score.
So, I mean, then he earned it.
No.
You're asking the
I guess
wrong dude.
he earned it out of the staying awake for 14 hours
Yeah.
and playing it. I give him credit
What
for
is the
that.
most important thing everybody has? Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you,
It is.
We only have a certain amount of time left on this planet.
Like my eyes score.
If he wants to spend
My eyes
that time
score,
wasting,
I'm
wasting
fairly
doing
proud
that,
of the eyes
so
score.
be it.
It's like 5 million, isn't it?
Like 4 or something?
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to Wagner, and he's like, "Hey, I got $1 million on the first board." Just because you can sit there and just go pew 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 pew, pew forever. So,
And I think for some people, a record means more to that person than others. You know, like I would sit there and pad if it was a game that I enjoyed. But eventually I'm going to get sick of padding. And just my own, I want to challenge myself. Okay, can I 1cc this?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to pad it anyway, like Ghosts and Goblins. Like, don't have a high enough skill level to do like a 1cc, but in theory, if I did, I'm going to sit there and pad, because if anybody tries to break my record, they all learn how to pad just as well as me and beat the game.
Right, there's a learning curve. You got to do both, yeah.
And you could do that even on
Darius Gaten or whatever, Dot was saying. Like, I would have to do that, and then if the guy couldn't beat the game as well as I would still take the score back.
So going back,
it would be hard.
Again,
it wouldn't be fun. I know what you're saying. It wouldn't be. Right. It wouldn't be like fun to watch. It wouldn't be fun to adjudicate. It wouldn't be fun to do. But that's what it comes down to.
We have just by saying, "Hey, don't do that." Hey, it's again fun, and it's fun to watch. Like, I don't want to adjudicate a score. Even like it's awesome watching you play that game.
Yeah,
it's a long game.
A little bit. Okay.
It's a pretty long game. Love watching you play it. It's awesome. It's fun every time. Every time you're playing, it's like, man, how'd you live through that bullet spacing? You threaded the needle on that. Awesome. If I have to watch you do 14 hours of shooting bullets or something, it's like,
it's not
fun.
glorious.
I don't like.
That's a look at that song, right?
No, sweaty bullets. Sweaty bullets. Sweating me? No.
I mean, it depends how much you want to win. I mean,
in the padding world, you're not adjudicating 14 hours of padding. In the padding world, you don't have to adjudicate because there are no rules.
But you could just go, don't do that, and then it's better for everyone.
So, like, compared to like professional sports, it's not fun to watch someone get intentionally walked so they could try to get the pitcher out next round, but they do it because they want to win. It's tough to accept what you have to.
I know.
Yes. I'm trying to draw these analogies. Some of them stick, some of them don't. But like, it's not fun to watch. It's not fun to do, but it's what makes sense. Like you just gotta.
It doesn't make sense.
The goal is to win.
The goal.
It's
coming around on your pitching analogy.
Yeah.
You've won me over.
Thank you. And it's not for everyone. Like, I agree. You're going to turn people off.
Gun.
Like,
it's the gun.
Bringing the gun to the fist fight.
The gun at the fist fight again.
Knife to the gunfight.
I've used that analogy in so many different places now. Like, nothing to do with arcades.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in my head. I love that one.
It's like
good fist fight.
It's in the game. You have to assume that everyone's going to use it. That's the definition of playing to win. You do have to play to win.
Have you been watching Untouchables?
It's from a previous podcast. Inside joke.
It's like, why does Will pick Cabal? Because he's the best. He's the best character in the game. He wants to win.
Is
Cabal the best player in the game?
By far.
That's
in which one?
In MK9.
Oh.
There's not even an argument. Everyone agrees Cabal's the best. And the only one anyone will tell you different is Will. That's the only person.
Yeah.
All right. So if we're going forward and we're all on board, are you nixing my Circus Charlie score?
At the tribunal, we'll have to decide.
We would have to talk about that at the tribunal.
No. Let's skip the pretense and just get to the point where everyone votes down except for me. And I would even probably vote down. I don't even care.
Which way? Do you want it pulled?
Let's say I vote up.
Do you want it pulled?
Do you want it? Let us know.
Only if we're instituting these new rules.
If you're sure, let's do this.
Let's pull it right now.
Then it's
just his score though.
Test it out. Test out the theory and put it into practice.
I mean, obviously,
would you play again if we pulled his score?
Because then you get to beat Sean again.
No, we have to pull his score too.
The good thing about this arcade is, so that score just made me angry. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm down to 479 games to play.
Exactly. If one game becomes broke, you can play another.
I'll get around to it in 2022 or something.
But removing my score does absolutely nothing.
That's true.
It takes my name off the card.
I'm always in favor of that.
Yeah.
But that's it. Sean's still going to play. He's still not going to play. He's done with it.
Are you really?
No one else plays it last week.
No one else plays it.
No, I did play it last
true.
week.
Nobody else plays it.
All right, so he's already still playing it, and I don't even have to remove my score for him to play. So I'm saying removing my score does nothing.
All right, we'll just, I guess...
To wrap up.
We'll wrap this up.
Going in the future...
We will... Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No running.
Dollar on the ground.
No running. No gun.
No intentional walks.
No stabbing or no bringing guns to fist fights.
No guns to fist fights. And no eating at Tony's.
What?
Whoa.
Let's back up a step there. We have an announcement though.
Oh.
Well, you guys already know about it. Just for the stream, or not for the stream, for the podcast.
So.
For Saturday. I want to announce it before we wrap up. I want
this Saturday.
I want to remind everyone.
The 16th.
Yes.
This Saturday the 16th, we will be adding a special new game to the arcade floor. It's no mystery.
It's no mystery. Everybody knows.
It's been on
Facebook. Yeah. It's a mystery to everyone not alive.
We will be unveiling Skycurser here at the Galloping Ghost Arcade.
It's a fun game. Very fun.
You play it yet?
Yes.
Where?
Logan.
Nice. Me too.
Awesome.
Is it finished yet?
No.
No.
Not
But
close.
there are rumors of level 3.
Level 3 preview.
Level 3 preview will be going
How
on
many
here.
levels are intended to be in this game?
I don't think they've fully...
No ending.
They have...
The never-ending shmup.
You beat the game and then they add a new level.
They will continue to add stuff for a while.
That's good.
I talked to Chris. He mentioned at least 2 more levels.
Yeah.
Like there's I think there's a
total.
snow level coming and some other level I can't remember.
It's awesome.
All right, well,
We've seen the artwork for the control panel that we're getting, and we have our cabinet all set for it, so super anxious to get that.
It's a very cool looking game.
It is.
It's one of those when I
fun.
first saw it, I'm just all like, I don't know, but lots of floating eyeballs, but I'm not going to try it. And as soon as you get into it, there's just so much coming at you. It's
It's a
so
ton
much
of fun.
Oh,
I played it at Logan too the night they brought it there.
Okay.
They had the volume cranked on
I
it
was
too.
there too. I probably missed
I
it.
played
because I didn't
MGC.
like-
You were there?
last year.
Yeah, I came way late at night though.
I came early when they brought it out.
I think everybody on this podcast has played.
Have you played it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
nice.
seen it.
It's at the
Or you
retro
were, it's a retrocade, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I only sunk about 4 games into it, but it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend if you can get out here Saturday to try it, please get out here. You'll enjoy it.
The developers will be here as well, so we look forward to talking with them and showing their game off, and again, after it'll be here for everybody to play. So it'll be an excellent addition, and so cool to see a new company putting out something specifically for the arcade.
Just arcade. No Android, no console, nothing.
Nope.
Just arcade.
Pete, do you have any questions from the fans this week? Any fan mail or anything?
Well, we had a question asked to us by John Munkus about.
Yes.
He asked a couple questions. He asked about speedrunning coming to Galloping Ghosts because Awesome Games Done Quickly was last weekend.
Okay.
Speedrunning is. I mean,
A lot of people get into that.
Huge,
You know,
man.
it's like like hearing this conversation from earlier, like how some games
They lend themselves better to it.
you know, I think speedrunning works for console games, home console games in particular, because there is no scoring aspect to it. So it becomes the default one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you start implementing that with other things. Like a game that comes to mind would be like Simpsons Bowling, for example. I'm just giving you an example. There's like 25 people that have a perfect score.
Right.
Is there 25 co-world record holders of this? Like it.
Technically, yes. So they all have the same score.
One further. Not only do you have to, if this was like a regular, like a video game, like how do you beat the game without dying or whatever? I don't know. But so they implemented, you got to beat it as fast as possible. So it works for a console game. Where we can implement the world record holder for Simpsons Bowling. Not only do you have to beat the game, but you have to time yourself while doing it.
Speedrun Donkey Kong.
No,
Fastest kill screen. That's what they do. They have a fastest kill screen track now.
I mean, like Simpsons Bowling, it'd be whoever uses Homer and spins it forward.
Without aiming. Yeah.
Without aiming.
Oh, you're supposed to use Homer?
Well, he has a fastest.
It works better with Homer?
I think it's Homer.
That's
I can't
the
remember.
tech.
I played it literally 3 times and got it.
Mozzie's is going to go immediately right now.
Yeah, no.
He's got a new world record. I don't.
But I never used Homer.
There's one guy where you just straight, boom, boom, every time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a totally broken game.
See? I spent like 2 hours on that game over the
Oh my god.
and I got a perfect score without poo.
Okay.
Chris Delutri actually
track.
has perfect games with every character in there.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right.
That deserves.
He deserves the world record for that.
Deserves something.
We should take everyone else's crown off that game except for his.
So I did not know Homer had a.
Perfect straight. Yeah.
I think speedrunning is just fun.
It's fun to watch,
just
too.
Straight fun. Like I watch dudes speedrun console stuff, and I don't care about the game at all. But watching a dude speedrun it is just straight up fun.
It makes it exciting.
Yeah.
I don't want
They
to
have to take
glitch stuff.
Well, there's glitchless speedruns. There's guys speedrunning Vendetta.
It's a different world than the arcade.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
It
totally
can stay in.
But like the game's done quick. They do it live. 150,000 people are watching. There's crowds cheering behind them. I mean, it's
That's all for charity too. It's a good cause.
but
so
it's fun.
It's awesome.
It'd be cool to do it locally here. I'm not saying start new tracks on Orchid, but it would be fun. There are a lot of games here that would be pretty cool to watch speedrun. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be. Like, I was watching a guy do a speedrun on Vendetta, and the guy was really good, and it would be fun to watch.
You think it's going to last for a long time? I don't think it will.
I don't know.
Yeah, well.
It won't.
It's got legs.
Nothing lasts forever. Only arcade games do.
But John's other question, we're probably going to address on the next podcast because it's a little more in depth. It's about like hardware emulation and stuff of people getting into boards that can emulate, the real ROM chips and stuff. So we'll probably have to talk about that when we have more time.
For sure.
Ooh, tease. A tease.
Yeah, tease. I like that.
To be answered next week.
Yeah. So to wrap up, should we go around the horn and what we're playing? Duke Dang upset that we have not been doing the What Are You Playing? Around the horn.
So shout out to Duke for having that come back.
Dukes!
Dynamite Duke Dang.
Yep.
What are you playing tonight?
Dragon Blaze.
It's so good.
It's so good. it's obviously
It's the best, yeah.
Aero Fighter Special. And just whatever. I played a game of Dodon Apache, got a personal best, one game, and then Mission Craft. I don't know why you taunted me into playing that, and now I can't stop.
Upgrade complete.
Oh, we can get the back.
Upgrade complete.
So it's a shmup night for me.
Shmup night. Cool.
Just stand next to the cabinet and do that while you play.
Upgrade complete.
When I come to the arcade, I don't have any game plan. I play usually whatever. I'm probably going to put a few games into the Aero Fighters since it's new. But no,
Don't forget there's a tournament in that.
Yes, whoever has the highest score by the end of the night. We have trophies
whose name is
on the
Fred?
way.
Trophies are on the way.
Yes.
Whoever has the highest score named Fred.
Thank you.
No, so I'm not playing anything particular. I've already played probably a dozen different games.
So I've been working on Gradius 2. Still probably going to jump on that and not crash into walls, hopefully. Pro Gear, which is really fun.
That's awesome.
That is an awesome game. It is really hard.
I'll get around to that at some point. I played one game of that. That is intense.
And from what I heard about that one too, it's not always the same patterns. Like the game will switch up what it throws at you and the different attacks that the certain enemies do. So, like,
is that rank based or just completely random?
I think it's just random. That's at least what I read about the game. So,
okay.
But yeah, it's kind of cool, fun game. So Gradius 2, Pro Gear. If I got time, I've been having really good runs in Final Fight lately.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and up my score.
Twiddle.
Mr. Twiddle.
I almost did it last time, and actually I don't know what happened. Like the game like glitched out, or I wasn't paying attention to the time because I was on the final stage. I'm just walking around and just dead. and Jeremiah was watching. He's just like, "What happened?" He's like, "You got 60 seconds." I'm like, "I have no clue." So I don't know what happened, but I was really close, and then nothing.
That's crazy. I'd like to see that.
That's so
I wonder what happened.
So those three, and play some Aero Fighters too, since it's new. It's fun.
Special.
Special. Oh, special. Okay.
Yeah, don't play 2.
Fourth.
They'll play 2.
Okay.
I like 2. It's a good game.
Do we need to ask what you're playing?
I'll be playing Dodon Apache, of course.
Yeah.
I hope to hit that score tonight. Some Mars Matrix. And then maybe some Dragon Blaze, just to piss Jamie off.
Nothing would make me happier.
No, because I'm going to break the game.
No, you're not.
Yes.
Wait, James Whitestyle?
I'm going to twiddle. No, I don't need to. One game, done. I don't expect Jamie to come even more close to that.
And Aero Fighter Special?
Aero Fighter Special.
Yeah.
Who's walking away with the title?
Me.
Fred.
Just
One of these
unequivocally.
two.
It's a foregone conclusion already?
Fred's very good at Aero Fighters.
I'll give it a run.
And
It's not close enough to 1 that he has a distinct advantage.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh.
It's got his character, though.
Plays a very
Koful's
similar
in
to
it.
1 is brutally hard.
Keith Bishop's my character.
Oh, I thought Koful was.
But he's not in that one.
There's no way. You got like 480 out of the box?
Something like that.
Yeah,
not that high.
You wouldn't have been able to do that on 1. There's
Oh, no, 1's way harder.
Yeah.
I agree with that. What I'm saying is I'm much better than you.
Nice.
I found $1 on the ground. All right, what about you, Pete?
I'm never going to live that down. If I have time tonight, I might try MIA again.
Oh, wait.
I've been playing a couple games. I'm not going to put up a score until I can get a top score on that.
Either you or Bryan have got to rescue the POWs and bring them back so we know what happened.
That's so tragic. It's not like what's happening. They're
Drop
dead.
like flies.
Yep. So it's either going to be MIA or possibly I don't know. I was.
You know that game.
Yeah, it's
that one.
It's that one.
Oh, I was playing a little bit of that Captain America and the Avengers the other day. I was enjoying that. I don't know. It's got a horizontal shmup section. How could I not play it? So, but maybe those two. Maybe Crime City. I don't know. I've got a few little projects, but yeah.
What about the Doc Man?
I will be going through the vaults tonight to find out what will be going up next week because I waited until today to pick the game, and that is not the way to go.
Procrastination.
That last minute panic is that perfect inspiration.
Yeah. It's about
Where is it?
You've been playing Dragon Blaze.
I will play a game of Dragon Blaze before I go, for sure. Because that is a very good
You
game.
have to.
It's only the best.
But
We have to wrap this up.
definitely something good coming next week. Very, very good. Very exciting.
Every week, though, and it's true.
This week I was a
This
little
one
more
extra
relaxed.
special?
I didn't know.
Okay.
This next one it'll be something unexpected.
Okay.
Was anybody expecting Arrow Fighters?
You gave a
Special.
little hint by the fact that, for whatever reason, the Aero Fighters cabinet moved.
Yeah, that's a good hint.
That was one of those last minute things, but
Okay. I was wondering.
How
why.
you guys can't show up until 5 o'clock next week?
I was good. I saw you
I
work
know,
on
I
the
know.
game, and
He averted his
put
eyes.
my horse blinders on.
Yeah.
I didn't look.
very
No, the
much
Aero Fighters
appreciated.
cabinet moved like 2 weeks ago.
That had nothing to do with it. That was just random.
Oh.
He wanted all the dragon cabinets next to each other.
I
think.
figured that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was a movement in some of the cabinets.
Yeah.
and
Any
will-
cabinet that moves,
You like your little, it's like Metal Gear Solid where the room and then the question mark shows up. Yeah, that's this guy right here.
you won't be expecting what's coming next week.
So
It will
you've
be
never
a-
mentioned it to anyone?
I haven't decided on it, but I'm going to make it. The vaults have so many amazing games in it. Oh, it's going to be good and unexpected.
So it's super special and unexpected, even to you.
Circus Charlie.
Yes, I will continue to go through the vaults until just the right game is picked.
Excellent.
All right, let's go play some
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening. For everyone that is here, thanks.
He's Doc.
Stock Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon.
Bye, everyone.
We'll leave a light on for you.